Hi everybody, it's Marquita. I just have a quick and easy idea of something fun that you can send to kids in the mail. This idea started with me finding these stickers, and I love a good theme, never pass up a good theme. So it made me think that, especially for some of my younger nieces and nephews, it might be fun to see if they could make their own comic book. So I just found this online. I just searched Pinterest for free comic book printables. And the idea is that I will ask them to draw, in each of the boxes and that type of thing. Because I always like to give them something to do, some way to interact with me when I send them mail. So that's the plan for this letter. I also feel very strongly that envelopes should be interesting. So I made these envelopes out of comic book pages. I find sometimes that comic book pages are a little small, so I just glue them together. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this in the light, but I glue them together and then I take a little bit of packing tape and make sure the seam is good and secure on the inside. Now, if you don't have access to comic books, there are tons of comic book stores, and actually every year they have free comic book day. This year it's going to be in August because of the pandemic. Usually it's in May though. We go just about every year, and then we pick up a few other comic books while we're there. My kids like to read them, and I of course see it as a craft supply. So this one I've already started, tearing pages out of and all of that, but they're just really cool. You can make little tags, smaller envelopes, whatever you want, and then you can see here that when you glue them together, you get a large enough piece of paper that you can make decent sized envelopes. Now there are templates all over the internet for making envelopes, so you can just Google them. I personally use this We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board, and I love it. I think it does a great job. And then sometimes I just make my own. But I wanted to show you this idea too. So if you don't want to mess with making your own envelope, you can take an envelope that's already made and just cut something out and glue that on too. So what I plan to do with this one is I will probably, do it about like this and glue it down. And then I will add an address label or just a white piece of paper that I glue down so that I can write the address on it. I also think it would be adorable if you did a speech bubble, if you cut out a speech bubble and glued that down and put the address on it. But I think part of what makes it more fun for kids is when you take time to decorate the envelope too. So I highly recommend that. I took the scraps from my envelopes and I made these small little envelopes. Again, they're templates. I didn't really use a template because I don't like to measure or do any extra cutting. So I just folded them over and cut them. But you can, like I say, make cute little envelopes or extra tags that also go in the mail. What I wound up doing, this is probably going to my youngest nephew, and I made a card for him, and I just did speech bubbles, and I'm going to write the letter this way. I thought that would be an interesting way to do it. I just happen to have this punch because I have a craft room full of things, but you certainly don't need it. You can draw your own, or even if you didn't want to glue the paper down, you could draw it yourself. Just take a light colored piece of paper and draw speech bubbles and do it this way. But I try to just change it up because I send them stuff fairly frequently and I don't want it to just get kind of ho-hum. So I try to make it interesting. So what he will get is this letter inside this smaller envelope, and then he'll get one of these that he can draw on himself, and then some stickers, and it'll be in a fun envelope, and I think that'll be a good little letter for him. So I hope that that helped. I'd love to hear if you have other ideas of ways that you could do fun comic book inspired mail for kids. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.